Do you suck at sight reading? Well, you're not on your own. And today we're going to meet Kathryn from Singapore, who is going to tell us what she is doing to improve in this area. That's coming up next.
Music Online UK.
So, Kathryn, maybe you'd like to introduce yourself and give the listeners a little bit of your musical history.
Hi there, everybody. I'm Kathryn Clark, and Robert, it's a great channel, Music Online UK. I've really enjoyed having a look around that over the years, and it has been years now because 5 years ago I started to learn the piano, and it was
5 years ago.
Yeah. So it was kind of a snap decision. It's always been in me to want to learn it. And then the circumstances just came together where my son was about to go to school for the first time. That meant I would have a few hours. It was only going to be half day. I had a few hours to myself, and I said to my husband, I think I'd really like to make a try for this. If I don't do it now, I can feel like I would never do it. And he actually said to me, he said, aren't you supposed to have learned instruments when you were a child? And that thing, which is kind of, and I said, oh, well, yeah, I think so. I said, but hang on, you learned to drive a car when you're older.
Yeah.
I said, I think I can handle it. I'm gonna try. If I don't try, I'll always wonder. And we went from there, and I started with the ABRSM syllabus.
And where have you got to now in that 5 years?
So I'm studying grade 6 at the moment. I'm hoping to get that wrapped up quite soon. So I went through all of the grades in terms of syllabus, but I only sat the grade 5 practical exam.
So what would you say has been the biggest challenge in that 5-year journey?
Yeah, the sight reading. And it's a funny one because it has only recently felt like a challenge. And I think that's because when you're first learning, you're just so elated to be able to play things. You sort of almost, you learn it, you play it, you forget it actually. If you don't keep it in repertoire by practicing it, then I started to realise, oh, these disappear. It's not as though I don't know them forever. Why? And it didn't click to me that this is tied in with sight reading versus playing from memory.
Right.
So I just kept learning lots of pieces. And I'm looking at the notes, but actually, I suppose really I could have played them with my eyes closed because the notes could have been anything, but I wasn't reading. And it's really dawned on me when I realised that as I've moved up the grades, the amount of pieces that I can learn has got less and less, because it's taken longer to learn each piece, because really fighting with the geography of the piano, how to make those leaps and what interval is that. And so whilst I'm reading the music the first time, second time, third time, I then seem to transfer to playing through muscle memory. And then because you have to do that for so long to perfect an exam piece, it's at that point that then you're not exercising your sight reading anymore, because it's all about the memory and then the articulation and being able to play it in an exam without breaking down. So I didn't realise that sight reading really is a separate thing that you have to keep on at all the time.
So would you say that at one point you felt like learning a piece of music was sight reading, although that was a mistake to think that?
Yes, absolutely. That I thought, I'm reading this. I didn't really realise that I kind of was. So I would say that, okay, enjoy learning lots of pieces, but just know that do a bit of sight reading as well as that, as a separate exercise. Not loads, just even a few minutes a day, 15 minutes or something.
Right. And are there any particular techniques that you found have helped with your sight reading and improved that, since you've identified that as a problem?
I went to the bookshop actually, and I decided this year that I know what the problem is now. I know that I can't sit down and play even a simple piece. I went to the music shop and I found these, I don't know if you can see them on screen, but it's Paul Harris Improve Your Sight Reading book. They're in line with the ABRSM sight reading. Right. So I'll be familiar with these books, the specimen sight reading test. But whereas before I only had the specimen sight reading test from the ABRSM, but all the pieces in that book are at the exam level. and there's no build up to how you can get better.
It doesn't prepare you how to do it. It's just set tests. Yeah.
Yeah, you just kind of think, you know, my teacher told me, obviously, but I was so bad at sight reading, I hated doing it. Still kind of do, although that's easy a bit now. But yeah, whereas these books, they start you off very gently. And they particularly look at, they give you at the beginning of each chapter, they'll focus in on a new rhythm and certain note values, and it will all be in line with what you'd have to do in your exam. And then they will move on from that into different key signatures, but so gradually. And then by the end of the book, which they're usually about 40 pages, by the end of the book, you're really hopefully at the level that you need to be for your exam.
So you're talking about different methods within the book to help you prepare. What sort of examples can you give? You know, what sort of things does it help you prepare? You said rhythms is one thing.
He writes down, he makes sure he gives you advice at the beginning of each chapter, what to think about in that 30 seconds where you need to prepare for your exam.
Now that's an interesting thing you talk about, because in the ABRSM exam there is that 30-second preparation time, and a lot of people will waste that, just try and start playing. But in these books, you're saying there are specific things you need to do to prepare and to watch out for?
Yeah, so for example, in the prepared pieces section, he's like, okay, so before you even play this, he's not asking you at this stage to do it in 30 seconds because you're a learner, but you get into the habit. So what is the key of this piece? Play the scale or micro scale. So it could just be 5 notes of the scale. My son does this, and it tells him immediately if he was looking at F major and he's forgotten about the B flat, he can just hear it if he just plays 5 notes. And so, then he gets you know, what will you count? Tap the rhythm of the piece. And this is another really good one. Look for the highest and the lowest notes in the piece. And I've started doing this myself because, especially as you move up the grades, you might actually have to shift position to get there. To have had an idea in advance of that is really helpful. You know, and trying to hear the music in your head as well. I'm really bad at that.
So there's like a checklist of things to do in that 30-second preparation time, rather than just playing through from the beginning, yeah?
Yes, and this has been so helpful to myself and absolutely useful.
And what about looking at the music and looking at your hands? Have you found that a little bit of a challenge within your sight reading?
Yeah, when I switch to sight reading, doing those exercises, I really make sure that I don't look at my hands, even if it stops when I'm in my learning mode, rather than trying to pull the piece together rhythmically. If I can see an interval, okay, that's a 4th, I will make sure I try to feel that without looking. And then the key is though to move on quickly, because doing a larger volume of sight reading doesn't mean sticking around on the same thing until it's absolutely perfect.
So you find that it's building a habit to not look at your hands, because I think a lot of beginners will automatically, just for confidence, because they don't feel secure, they'll always check their fingers when they start playing, you know, right at the beginning of their playing, and that becomes a habit, a bad habit, and getting them out of that is probably one of the key things for success in sight reading. Sometimes I've even hidden the hands of my beginner students with a book, if they're inclined to do that. And then they play a piece again, and they play it much more fluently, and they're amazed that they can play it better when they can't see their hands. I just hover a book just above their hands. You know, one hand position, you know. They don't have any big, amazing jumps to do or anything, but they're still amazed. Well, how can I play that better when I couldn't see my hands? And I'm saying it's because you're looking up and down, up and down. It's like vertical tennis. You know, and you're following this up and down, and it makes you play without fluency, and it's hesitant. And then very often you'll look down, and then I'm lost, and you can't remember where you were on the page. And it's,
you lose where you are very quickly. Also, my son, I find with him that the first time he plays one of his sight reading exercises, he will play it looking at the notes, but the second time he's committed half of it to memory already.
Yes.
And he'll look down at his hands and try to play from memory, and then he'll have a hesitation because he's forgotten the notes. So if I remind him, say, no, it's in front of you, and you don't have to move your hands, so just trust your hands. And I think
I have so many students do exactly the same. Yeah, and
yeah,
they played it only once, and if any time they ever ask me, can I show them how it goes? First of all, I say, you work it out first, then I'll show you how it goes.
yeah, definitely.
Because they just try to copy and not learn to read.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And that's without realizing it, that's precisely how it has gone for me, which was, learning a lot of pieces and feeling like, I'm reading this, but actually hadn't really mastered sight reading at all. And now going back to fix it is the next big thing for 2019 for me.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I wish you all the success with your future studies. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, Kathryn. But also, before you go, would you like to tell our listeners about your YouTube channel as well? Because you've got an interesting YouTube channel, haven't you?
Yes, thank you, Robert. It's set up there just to meet people and be like, hey, what are you learning? Are you learning as well? Because, it's not often that you come across other adults learners, or beginners, and it's wonderful when you can just talk and just find out,
So it's like a little vlog, basically, of your practice journey and your musical student journey.
Yeah, I think so. It may change. It's like a chameleon. It keeps changing its colour all the time. But yeah, basically, I've met through it, a couple of people have messaged me with their stories, and it's been so nice to hear, someone saying, oh, what do you think about learning music theory with it, and just chatting about it. I'm not an expert at all. It's more just about interest, really, shared interest.
Just sharing your journey, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that for many of my listeners, they're at a similar level to yourself or share similar challenges, and to see how you relate to those challenges would be very interesting for them too. So go and check out Kathryn's channel. It's called Kathryn Clark, is that correct?
Yes, it's called Kathryn Clark.
So go and check out Kathryn Clark's channel, and it's been a pleasure speaking to you today. Thank you very much for your inputs, and it's been quite inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.